Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rekach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Okay, as you see, I have a definition of, it's called fascism. Right? It says a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual, that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition, a tendency toward or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. All right, so let's get into this. All right, I have this video. We're gonna get into it. It's called the Great Reset Partnership will accelerate 21st century fascism. All right.
We have the
And if you don't know what the Great Reset is, look up Klaus Schwab. He said you will own nothing and be happy with it. All right, so let's get into this.
author of my new book that is available for sale right now at Amazon.com. You can get it. It comes out second week of January. Make sure you get it now because of supply lines. Order it now. It's by me and Justin Haskins. It's called The Great Reset, Joe Biden and the Rise of the 21st Century Fascism. Justin, this thing is traveling so fast, and it's just a matter of who captures the American and the global population first. Are they going to put us in chains before we figure out what it is as a population?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we're trying to stop, right? I mean,
And the Great Reset is an agenda to oppress you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, you Israelites. You know, he wants to put that chip in you, that digital all, right? He wants to make you his slave forever, right? And with this chip, he's going to have all your information as far as banking, social security, you know, your date of birth, you know, everything that you put on social media, everything is going to be on this chip, you know? All right?
I think that this has been going on for a very long time. We've been playing catch up over the past year and a half or so because the rhetoric changed and signaled to people like us that something very wrong was going on here. When they started calling it the Great Reset, that's when we really started digging deeply into what was happening. And we've found that over the past 10 years or more, they've been advancing the world towards this new economy, this 21st century fascism. That's right. It's a form of fascism. It's been going on for a very long time, this movement, but it's accelerated rapidly over the past year and a half, and especially since Joe Biden has become president. And this.
So these rich elite bankers have used the opportunity of the so-called pandemic to speed up their agenda. If you look up Operation Warp Speed, it tells you that, you know, this pandemic, you know, was an opportunity basically for them to fulfill their, you know, their agenda, right?
New announcement is in Glasgow is absolutely massive move toward this Great Reset world they're trying to build.
So explain what it means and why it's so important.
So the announcement, we don't have all of the details yet, but what we do know is that there's going to be this partnership between the United States government and the World Economic Forum, and it's called the First Movers Coalition.
Okay,
and
so the World Economic Forum is about as spooky as Hydra. I mean, this is a group of the elite of the elites at Davos. They gave birth to the World Economic Forum, or is it the other way around? But this is when you hear about Davos and meeting with George Soros and everything else, that's what this is. And now our country is partnering with them on the Great Reset.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the whole purpose of this First Movers Coalition is to create a public-private partnership between major corporations and business and the U.S. government so that they can essentially manipulate the economy without actually having to pass a law in Congress that says you have to do X, Y, or Z. They're trying to build this. It's collusion between the government, private corporations, and the facilitator of all of this is the World Economic Forum, who, as you mentioned, are the people behind the Great Reset movement and Davos and all of that other stuff. And the key point person, according to the press release that they've put out and some of the information they've provided to the public in the U.S. government, is going to be John Kerry, who is part of the Biden administration's cabinet. He's the special envoy for climate. And this is so important for people to understand. John Kerry has been openly supporting the Great Reset. I mean, attending Great Reset events, saying, I support the Great Reset. And he promised back in November 2020, after Joe Biden was declared the winner of that election, that under Joe Biden, the Great Reset will happen. And it will happen with greater speed and greater intensity than most people realize. And now he's the one spearheading this coalition with the World Economic Forum, Great Reset people, to try to create the public-private partnerships that you and I have been talking about and warning about now for years.
So when the president made this announcement, he was on stage with John Kerry right next to him, and right next to John Kerry was Bill Gates. This is a elitist. It's a movie, honestly. It's a movie. These are Bond villains here, and they are taking control and will take control of industry, of farming, of you name it, and you won't have a choice. This is an end run around our Constitution and around our Congress and Senate. It's an end run.
That's exactly right. And the reason they're doing it this way is because they have failed so spectacularly trying to get laws passed in Congress and trying to get things through the Supreme Court historically. They've been so bad at trying to make this thing happen at the speed that they want it to happen that way, that they figured out this other way of doing it through private corporations. And by coercing them, threatening them, twisting their arm, providing them with carrots and threatening them with sticks, they've been able to build this entire Great Reset system on the side. And most people haven't even realized that this is going on. This is the way that society will be transformed. It's through this Great Reset and these public-private partnerships and big cronyist deals. And the other important thing to keep in mind is that they keep telling us that this is about the stakeholders. This is about people, regular folks. No, our regular folks in Davos, are they in?
It's not about regular folks. It's about you Israelites, man. You know, you guys went off against the Heavenly Father, and you still do to this day. You know, 2/3 of you Negroes and Spics and Native Americans, y'all gonna suffer judgment. You know, tells you that 2/3 of the people will be cut off and die.
Moscow right now?
If this was truly about the regular folks, they would be spelling this out from the Oval Office every night for a week and say, look, here's a big thing. We're going to change the way we do business in America, and here's what we're doing. Instead, they say it's a conspiracy theory while they're doing it. You have no stake in this. You have no say in this. You won't have any say in this. This is the way they will transform everything. It is in our banks. It's in our global corporations. Let's just say they have this special deal with all the steel makers. Okay, you're building a car. All right, if the government says that you have to build electric vehicles and a car in a certain way, and you say, no, I don't think that's the best way, not only does the government have what's called a golden stakeholder position on your board that can override the board's decision, but they can also make it very painful for you with the banks. They say, no, you have to go green. The banks say, we can't fund you because you're not making enough green cars. And even if the bank doesn't hold back, The steel company in the public-private partnership with the United States government, they will say, we can't sell you any steel to make that car. We can't sell you any aluminum to make your car or the cans for your farm goods because, well, you're not green enough. This is going to happen on everything. This is not just about climate change. This is ESG, environment, social justice, and governance. So who do you have in charge? What does your team look like? Do you have enough black people? Do you have enough anybody but Asians and white people running the company? That's what this is really all about. A complete, not just economic reformation, but a social reformation at the same time. At the end of this, if they get...
Yeah, he using you damn coons, you politicians, you blacks and you spics that believe in politics. He's using you as a scapegoat,
their way. By 2030, America is completely gone as you know it.
Yes, without a doubt. And this isn't speculation. Basically everything that you just said, they've openly advocated for. The complete transformation of society, pushing the reset button on the entire global economy, having a new economic model, rewriting the social contract. That's something that John Kerry himself has called for numerous times. And again, he's now the one running this First Movers Coalition with the World Economic Forum. They've been very open about what they want to do. And then when people criticize them, they say, no, this is a conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. It's the ultimate form of gaslighting. This is the biggest gaslighting event that has ever happened in human history. They're telling the entire world that there's nothing really going on, while at the same time saying they're going to push the reset button on all of society and rewrite social contracts and change the economy as we know it and change your life. And everyone has to participate, and every country has to participate, and every industry has to participate. And these are the sorts of things they're saying, while at the same time saying, oh, nothing's really going on here, so you don't need to worry about it.
And this is why I think that the Democrats are not really that concerned about learning their lesson. Because in the end, you are under their thumb one way or another. You're under the thumb of big government, either that is either exerted over you through the banking system or the monetary system or the system of where you work, when you work, how you work, who you work with. All of these things, you're not going to have space to go to. There's no free space, if they have their way, on the entire planet. It's all centrally planned and centrally run. And your voice is only through the voice of your elected official. And they don't care if that's Mugabe or the Queen or, King Biden. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care because it isn't about what people really want. In their minds, we're all a bunch of stupid sheep. They should be in charge of the world because if they just had control of everything, the world would be so much better. And there's this existential crisis of climate change that justifies any amount of authoritarian actions that they want to take anyway. And so they're going to do whatever it is they want to try to impose this, while at the same time...
It tells you that this dragon will come down with great wrath in Revelations 12:12, And he's going to come down with that great wrath, He's forcing you to take the jab. You got Jakes, sacrificing their children over to Esau, Edom, which is a false god, You got them. You literally really have these Jakes giving over their children to this devil, man, because they believe that the so-called white man is God. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear the words of the prophets. They don't want to hear the truth, that the Lord is a so-called black man and he about to do away with 2/3 of you Negroes and spics who don't turn back. They don't want to hear that, But they're too far gone. And judgment is here. They're going to be the ones that end up taking these jabs because they love their life, man. They're going to be the ones taking this chip because they love their oppressor. These people are fucking dead, man.
not including regular people in the conversation while saying that they are including the regular people in the conversation and that they're doing this all for their benefit. Meanwhile, they're all getting super rich off of this crony scheme. In some cases, they're making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. You look at BlackRock and people like that have added trillions of dollars to their portfolios over just the past few years while engaging in all of this great reset stuff. So it's a giant Ponzi scheme in a lot of ways, but it's also the biggest power grab we've ever seen. And yes, this is a conversation we should all be having nationally. There should be a national conversation that we're all having. Do we want to push the reset button on the global economy, on the American economy? Do we want to move in this direction of the Great Reset? Do we want to put elites in charge of virtually everything through ESG scores and crony systems and all of this stuff? And we're not having that conversation. They're going to try to impose it on us no matter what. And the most important part of this entire thing, the proof of that, is yesterday they asked John Kerry about the Build Back Better bills and how in Congress and how these infrastructure bills have failed. They asked him about it, and he essentially said, and I don't have the quote in front of me right now, but he essentially said, it doesn't really matter what happens in Congress. We're going to find a way to do this anyway. We're already starting to do it now through the government at COP26.
Yeah, he said yesterday that we're
And COP26 is another plan to kill off you Negroes and you spics. You know, they want to do climate change is nothing but a plan to kill you niggas off, man. You know, Bill Gates, years ago, he said in order to reduce population, you know, in order to reduce climate change, you got to reduce the people, all right?
doing it through the administrative arm, and we don't need Congress. Thank you so much. The name of the book is The Great...
So I'm going to close out with this scripture. This is Job 5:12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands could not perform their enterprise. All right? And what is their... Let's go into their word enterprise. It says wisdom, sound knowledge, success, sound or sufficient or efficient wisdom, right? So the Lord is about to destroy their wisdom, man. He's about to confound them. He says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands could not perform their enterprise. He said, he taketh the wise and their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. So these devils are always plotting, right? They want to see how they can destroy the children of Israel. That's all they think about, man. They don't get any sleep if they don't have a plan to destroy us, man. And I'm going to close out with verse 15. But he saveth the poor from the sword. Who is he? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, but he saveth the poor from the sword, right? Because Esau's blessing is that sword. He says, from their mouth, which is their law and their politics and their unrighteous decrees, right? It says, but he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty, right? Because Esau is a proud man. He goes around rape, robbing, and murdering every nation of people, you know, and he sets himself up in that land, right? But hey, man, this devil's plan is over with, man. He's finished, man. He's being revealed. You know, Apostle Paul said, you know, he will be revealed to us. That man of sin, and that man of sin is also the fucking devil and Satan, like it says in Revelation 20. I'm gonna close out with that. And if you can't see that this Esau, Edom, the so-called white man is the devil, then hey man, you're gonna bow down to him. You know, you're gonna bow down to him, man, like you already been doing. I'm gonna close out with that. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Ruchakudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the scattered elect. Kwam Yasharala Abba Ball.